How's it going, guys, and welcome to Off the Street Outdoors. Okay, we're gonna get kind of right into it. Having some issues with editing and some other things, so I'm just gonna throw out another video. Just gonna throw it off my phone, so it's not gonna have any like editing or anything in that, so it might be a little bit longer, especially since we're gonna be talking about sighting in the CBE Hybrid Tactic Hybrid, excuse me. So we're gonna be talking about this, going over exactly what you need to be able to do and have when you're doing this for sighting this in, and then we'll move into what parts you'll need to move for the 20-yard sight in, and then we'll actually go outside and talk tips and tricks I learned as I was going through this, things that might help you when you're actually doing this. So definitely make sure to watch this video, give it a like, thumbs up, comment down at the bottom. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And then I'm here for you guys. So, but we'll get started on this one. So first thing we're gonna do, of course, first step would be mounting this on your bow. Depending with this sight, like I was saying in the last video on the hybrid, you definitely, or for the tactic, the tactic hybrid, you need to figure out which holes you're gonna mount it on the side here on the bow. Figure out what holes you're gonna need to mount for that. So it has 3 different holes, which stands for speed of bow, basically is what I have found in relation. So for this one, I just mounted on the second. The middle holes right there, I think that's kind of, you can split the difference there if you don't really know how fast your bow is. And then, I mean, of course, if you're needing more, like if you're needing to come up and you basically can't come up anymore, then you need to move up to these top holes or to the bottom holes here. So you move your sight picture all the way up. Or if you need to bring it down, then of course you have these the 2 top ones here. You would put this down if you needed to come down a little more in movement, if you've maxed out what you can move here for adjustments for your vertical adjustments. So that's, I would say that's where you would be like, you would have to try it out, because if you don't know. But I have had no issues just mounting it on the 2 middle holes of it. And then of course the 2 holes here, the 2 little holes on the side, that's actually for if you had a CBE or any type of aftermarket. If you're not going to put the actual bow brand's quiver on there, you can just buy a cheaper aftermarket quiver that actually just mounts to the side of it right there. So that's a nice feature that it has, which we've already gone over. So step 1 was getting it on the bow. Next step is you need to know exactly what you're going to need to use to move it. So if we come over here real quick to my tool stand real quick and just kind of move. Okay. Set the bow down. Hopefully I'm not getting drowned out for you guys right here. So you guys will need an Allen set key, and for most of your movements, if I remember correctly, it's going to be your, mine exploded today, so I had to do a little bit of running it so it would work. Need an Allen key set to fix an Allen key set. Ain't that crazy? Anyway, so you'll need a, if I remember correctly, yeah. So that's going to be a 9/64 Allen key to make your adjustments on, or for moving almost, actually I think it's all of them, all your Allen key screws on here. You'll need a 64th inch or a 9 64th Allen key for that. So we'll put you back here on the tripod thing. All right, so for your vertical movements, there's these 2 set screws on the side here. See if I can get you guys to actually see that without it being like in the way. Yeah, that's good. So right here, I know I'm up on the thing, so you guys get to see everything, but so right here, or sorry, not right there, excuse me. Right here, you have these 2 screws right here. If you look right here, there's little holes in here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. You actually can see a better view on the back side here. Okay, you can see that there's 5 holes here. If you need to, okay, because it actually comes on the, I think, 1 more hole down, this top screw here. It actually comes on the second hole here, and I had to move it down because I needed to come down. So you can actually take these screws out and put them in each of the holes if you need to make that movement in between there. So you just pull it out, screw it back in to the hole that you need so you can move down, because it has this bar in the center right here. Here, it has that bar in the center right there where it separates the two. You can barely see it because the screws can separate, but this right here separates two holes, and you might need it to where you need to drop it down so that you just move that top screw, or vice versa. If you needed to come up, you can move that bottom screw to one that's lower on this bottom hole here, or vice versa. It has plenty of area for you guys to be able to move it. So that's what you would have to loosen both of them. You can just, when you're sighting it in, you don't have to tighten both of them back down. Once you loosen, you have to loosen both up and then tighten one down relatively tight. You can snug the other one up, but you don't have to tighten the crap out of it. And then shoot. If you're where you need to be, you're where you need to be, but don't like crank them down each time you're gonna do it, because that could put maybe a little groove or valley inside that metal that's right there, and you could run into issues where when you're going to actually try to sight it in, you could actually end up having issues where you're wanting to go back to where you were before. So definitely make sure that you don't over tighten, really. You only need to tighten one up while you're sighting it in to hold it in place, and then make movements as you go. So the way I did it was I just tightened this bottom one back up and screw this one where it was not like loose, so it wouldn't work its way out, but it was on there good. I just finger tightened it for that. All right, so that's for your vertical adjustments. All right, now for your horizontal adjustments. Let's see if we can get this. You can see, actually I'm just gonna take it. I dropped you guys. So for you guys here, you're gonna wanna, excuse me, everything's kind of all wild. So you can see right here, this little dial with the red button in, it looks like in the center. And then you can see on the back side here, you can see the little ticks there. That bar going across there is actually this right here. It's hard to see because I have it pretty well. Let's get it right here. So these right here, this right here is where you're gonna actually have to move. And this right here, you can actually, if you only have a little movement for your this will be for your horizontal movements for your left to the right. And then of course, that's what you'll use to make those adjustments. Now, in the gist, you can actually tilt your housing here. There is right here, the screw right here. You can tilt your housing and get like that second axis kind of like tilt if you need to like do that. It has that ability. I didn't touch it. Got it shooting pretty close. If I want to get it really, really close, I guess I could do that and eye it, but I'm not very experienced in that, so I didn't touch that. So, yeah. But it has that ability if you want to tilt that. And sometimes it helps with like your peep and the way your eye sets, and it gives you just a little bit better, I guess, adjustment. All right, so then that's pretty much the gist of the movements that you're gonna do. But before you get too far ahead of yourself, make sure, if you look, you see how I have this all the way at the bottom of this right here, right? This actually moves up and down, right? So the farther down you go, that'll actually make your range. So when you're sighting this in and you are doing your 20, right, make sure this is twisted all the way to here, down at the bottom, and it doesn't move, and then flip your pin over, or your tensioner back over. And the reason why I say that is I want to be able to have, it's loose. I want to be able to have as much travel as I can get, so I can get as much range with my bow, right? Get the best out of my housing that I can. So make sure that you mount that all the way at the top, or have this all the way setting where this is all the way up. And this is almost, everything is almost in line right here, and that's a good thing. Okay, so that's what you want. But make sure this is down and locked down real good, because I actually screwed up, didn't do that, started shooting. Didn't realize it was up about 2 clicks really. I mean, it was up about a full turn up, but I couldn't tell. It still looked like it was level. And I got it sighted in and I was done. And I always do this little, when I'm going to put it in the bow case, I always do a little twist and it moved back down. And I was like, oh crap. And I was like, well, maybe I'm lucky and I just hit it, you know, or something. And I shot, realized after I pulled it back down, I was about 3 inches, 4 inches high. So all I had to do is basically just move it back down with this, because my left and right didn't move. It's just my vertical, or my vertical movements. I just needed to move it back down. So that was relatively easy. So that's one thing you need to make sure of. Now we're gonna move outside, and we'll go from there. So we're gonna go outside. You guys are gonna have to come with me, because I'm not gonna edit this video whatsoever. So this is kind of like one of those things where it's gonna be a little bit of a jostling show. Because we're gonna talk about, and I want to shoot a couple arrows after this. Just getting out of the house. But I know what 20 yards is at, so I don't need my I'll take my rangefinder. But anyways. But yeah, I'm here for you guys. This is, you know, I'm just wanting to shoot and do what I need to do. Carry all this crap outside real quick. Could have just shot this outside. Hindsight's 2020, but oh, please don't knock my arrows off or rip my fletchings off. I can't do that. I used to have a quiver. I'm pretty sure I just showed you guys my butt. You live and you learn, right? You live and you learn. All right. I'm trying to get this tripod set up. It's not actually a tripod for a phone. It's for a tripod for my camera that I have to get a different SD card for, because the SD card the camera came with that I bought from, because I bought it secondhand, will not work for what I'm actually doing. So what I'm doing right now is just using the tripod to do this. And I'm not gonna edit. It's gonna be pretty authentic stuff here, huh? So hopefully you guys can see the target somewhat. There we go. Well, I'll drop you guys again. There we go. Now, you know where we got to move it and stuff. We've talked about that. So basically now I'm going to talk, because I've already sighted this in. Now we're going to talk about my little tips and tricks for you guys when you go out to actually start sighting it in and shooting. Because that's why we sight in our sights, right? So that we can actually shoot it. So what we're going to do is we're going to load an arrow up. I'm using the RIP TKOs with 50 grain. 50 grain outsert, and then 100 grain field tips, and then A&E hybrid fletchings, or actually these are Victory fletchings. I'm pretty sure these are A&E hybrids. They might not be. They look like them, but I might be thinking outside the box. Same design as A&E. But anyways, what we're gonna do is I want you guys to get as close as you can to the target. So, and the reason why I say that is whenever you're sighting in a new sight, and this is for sights in general, whenever you're sighting in a new sight in, you don't know where this is sighted in, right? You don't know where it's shooting. So you don't want to step back at 20 yards and fling an arrow and not know where it goes. Safety first all the time. You don't want to do that, especially like me shooting in the backyard. You don't want to sling an arrow in someone's house. So of course I have a backstop with my plywood here, but I also don't want to damage I don't want to damage my arrows because they're expensive, right? So get as close as you can to the target, fire, see if you miss the target or vice versa at 3 yards or whatever, you at least know where you're at so you don't miss it and lose an arrow. At least with this, or get as close as you can. You shouldn't miss it at 3 yards. 24 by 24 target, you shouldn't miss at 3 yards. So you shouldn't. 3 to 5 yards really. You'll fire your shot, 3 yards, and then what I would say is basically stair step it back. Move back to however far you need to go and do 20. So I would do like, if you honestly, the easiest way to think of it is to go 5, 10, 15, 20. And then I would still keep that same idea, because you're also, once you get your 20-yard pin set, right, that's when you're doing all your horizontal and vertical movements. After you get that set, you're not going to do that again when you're moving back to 60, because you got to have 60 to be able to find out what sight tape you're using. So the only reason why you got to shoot 60 is to figure out what sight tape you're going to do. And so you'll take one of those sight tapes that are the plain Jane looking sight tapes. They have nothing on it. They're just a square thing that you'll put on here. You'll mark where your 20 is at, and then basically you'll work your way back, and I'd still do 5-yard increments as you're walking back and turning your dial up and getting to 60. And then you'll fire at 60, get that line. I definitely would sit there and shoot a couple of arrows before you say, hey, I'm gonna make my line after that first arrow. Shoot a couple arrows, make sure that it's actually grouping and hitting where you're wanting it to hit. Then make your line, then go get your sight tape. Then you should be officially sighted in, right? You're not actually sighting in at 60, you're just finding where 60 is at so that you can get your sight tape. The sighting in portion is only the 20 yards, right? So you're only going to be at the 20 yards, and that's the only time you're going to have to do your adjustments, or of course at your 5, 10, 15, and 20. You know, make your adjustments as you get back there, make sure you're shooting. I'd spend a couple days even at 20 before I'd start throwing and making marks on sight tape, because things can move. You want to make sure that your bow is hitting where you want it to be hitting. So that's what you'll do there. And yeah, in all honesty, I still think this is still the best budget sight you can buy for under $150. You can't beat it. You really cannot beat it. Think of anything else. Well, is the best sight. I mean, it's not the best sight, I guess. There's some features that I wish it had, but for under $150, I mean, it's got features that there's some sites out there that are $200 that don't have. So, I mean, take what you will with that. But I like it. I like the horizontal style single pin sight. And trying to think, if there's anything else I'm missing. And don't feel bad for stepping up here at 3 yards. If you shoot at a local range or whatever, and that's where you're going to sight in your thing, and you're worried that someone's going to be making fun of you, I don't think people would make fun of you, but if they do, I just ask them how many arrows they've lost in their lives trying to sight in at 20 or 10, or yeah, sight it at 20 yards and shoot at a 24-inch target. So, I mean, I've missed the target at 3 yards before, messing with my release. Oh, that was another thing I was gonna say. I really do like this release. It's great. I mean, it's an adjustment, but I really do like how it feels when I shoot. And yeah, so that's the CBE Hybrid, or Tactic Hybrid. I keep wanting to say, I must be dyslexic just a little bit. But Hybrid see, I did it again. Tactic Hybrid from CBE. It's awesome. Definitely suggest you guys go and do this. I hope this is great information that you guys get, and little tips of making sure where you're wanting to be and stuff, especially if you're in the backyard. You do not have to do all this. You don't have to go get everything for your sight tape done in one setting. I would not do your sight tape probably for a couple days. Shoot in your backyard for a while, then go to the range if you need to, and shoot that 60 and figure out what sight tape you need, and go from there. That's what I would do. Unless you got a big backyard, which I wish I had, but I don't, falling on a budget. And so yeah, but thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want you guys to leave a like and comment down at the bottom, and please, if you would, hit that subscribe button. Join the outdoor off the street outdoor family. We love you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day. God bless you, and thank you for watching.